Hey everyone, we're going to start our live stream, our April 2021 live Q&A here on Facebook. I'm just going to give it a few minutes to load and then we'll get started. It's started. So, all right, I'd like to thank everybody who is joining us for our April 2021 Q&A live on Facebook. We're going to cover a couple topics. I'm going to keep this under an hour if I can. We had a bunch of people write in some questions, so we're going to cover all of that. Welcome everyone who's joining the chat. If you have a question that you didn't get to ask us before, you can write it in the chat, and I will try to answer it as quickly as I can. If I miss your question, just write it again, and I'll try to catch it. So we're going to start a live Q&A in a second. Hi everyone that's joining us. Thanks for coming in. I want to cover a couple things. You guys have been asking some questions and stuff I want to cover. Hi Melania, good to see you. Good to see you, Debbie. Good to see you, Monica. Thanks everyone. So a few things have been going on. As you know, we were monetized by YouTube, and we started having some advertisements on our channel. We're making just a little bit of money off of it, you know, a couple bucks here and there. YouTube actually gave us a strike against our channel because they said that what we were posting was bullying scammers. Can you believe that? So we made the decision that we were going to take away our monetization. We are not going to get paid through YouTube to make videos anymore. It wasn't worth losing our channel over YouTube feeling that we were bullying scammers. So for us, as you know, it's never been about making money. It's always been about educating people. So from now on, our YouTube videos are all advertisement free. We only make them just to educate you guys and help you stay safe. So just something to keep in mind, and that's what actually happened with our YouTube channel. So we're still making videos, we're still on YouTube, we're just doing it all for free, and hopefully that education will help prevent people from becoming the victims of scams. So much love to all you guys. Thank you for coming to the Q&A. I'll get started with some questions. We had a lot of people write in some great questions, and I'll start with the first one that Page Regular wrote in. And his question was, have family members been targeted by a victim's scammer? If so, why? So yes, they have. So let's say your mom or your grandma, your aunt got entangled up with a romance scammer online, and the family got involved somehow. It's very common for scammers to attack the family. Oftentimes what they do is they just block. They'll block the kids, the grandkids, anyone that's going to try to get in the way of that scammer getting money. But sometimes when the family members get involved with the victim and say, hey, mom, don't send that money, it's a scam, then the scammers will go after the parents or the children or the grandparents or whoever is trying to intervene in this scam. So it is common. What they might do sometimes is they'll just harass the family, or they'll send them unwanted friend requests. They'll try to, call them, harass them, tell them mind your own business. They might make threats. They might say, hey, I'm in a online romance with your mom and I got nude photos. If you don't stop, I'm going to send all those photos out. They do it to try and scare the family. They do it to try to, get to the family members and break them down and make them think, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't mess with this person, or we should just leave it alone. So it is common, but more commonly they usually will block the scammer. Or the scammer will block the family, and just so they can't get in contact with them, they can't yell at them and things like that. But that's mainly what happens, is the scammer will block the kids and grandkids and anyone involved that's trying to stop the victim from sending money. I got contacted by a scammer pretending to be someone named Aaron Ola. The last name Ola is common with Nigerian, so might be a Nigerian scammer, possibly. Next question we had someone ask is, how do romance scammers get personal information? Surprisingly, most times they get your personal information by asking you, and you give it to them. What's interesting about romance scammers, people don't realize. So you're talking to someone online, and let's give an example. Your name is Betty Smith, okay, and you're from St. Louis, Missouri. So you meet a man on Facebook, and you say, oh, my name's Betty Smith, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. Right then and there, that scammer already has your name, has what city you live in, and then you continue talking to these scammers, and you give little pieces of information to them. You'll say, oh, I'm 57, I was born June 14th. So then the scammer has that information. So now they have your full name, the city you live in, and your birth date. They can take just that information, go into any free search site and find your address. Sometimes find your phone number. All that stuff is publicly listed. So most times the way scammers get information is people give it to them. People are very forthcoming when talking to strangers online, and this is why I and myself always tell you guys, if you meet somebody online, and let's say you're on Match.com and you meet a guy, don't tell him your full name. Don't tell him what city you live in. Don't tell them your full birth date. Don't tell them where you work. Keep it all very, very, on the surface. Tell someone your first name. If you live in Seattle, Washington, tell them you live in Washington, or tell them you live in a different city that's not close to Seattle, because you don't want to give people too much information. And unfortunately, scammers don't have to work hard to get that information. All they have to do is just listen to you, and that's how they get it. But a lot of times, if you've given your name and what city you live in, scammers take that information, they go into search, they type it in, they find you. And a lot of times they can find where you work, they can find what you do, they can find all kinds of stuff. So it's pretty easy for anyone to find information on who you are, because the internet has it all publicly listed. There's no privacy anymore, unfortunately. Tammy, can they hack your phone through voice chat? Not that I've ever known. I mean, I've never had a scammer hack my phone, but what they can do is if you, they send you a code. If you're talking to somebody online and they send you a code, let's say Google sends you a 4-digit code or 5-digit code, and the scammer says to you, "Dear, I sent you a code. What's that code?" Sometimes what they do that for is they will get a hold of your Gmail address. They'll always ask for your Gmail, and then they'll try to hack your email address, and they'll have a code sent to your phone, and then if you give them that code, they can gain access to your email. They can gain access if if you're like me, you have your email on your phone, they can gain access to that as well. But as far as hacking your phone through voice chat, I've never come across a scammer that's done that. But things change every day. There's modern technology and things that scammers are doing now that they couldn't do 2 or 3 years ago. But I've never experienced it. But I've experienced people having their phones hacked because they gave the scammer, a code that was texted, or they gave them their email or certain personal information, and the scammer was able to get into their phone service, their phone apps, and things like that. That also comes to not adding people on your phone bill. Scammers will directly ask you, "Can you add me on your Verizon bill?" Or, "I'll pay your bill for you. Can you give me your login for your T-Mobile account?" And that's when the scammers get into your personal stuff and into your phone. But as far as voice chatting, no. Most of the time, if you're voice chatting with a scammer, they have a hard time even keeping a connection with you, because most times they voice chat on Hangouts or WhatsApp, and their connection is so poor that there's not much they can really do with your phone. But anything is possible at this point. Next question, are there software that can alter a scammer's appearance and voice? Absolutely. There is actually an app called Make Me an American. It's something similar like Make Me American, Make Me an American. They can talk through that app on their phone, and the app will actually digitalize and change their voice structure so they don't have that heavy West African accent. It's a little robotic, but it works and it fools people, unfortunately. There's also a lot of software that can alter your face, that can alter anything. I mean, we have scammers using photos of Dr. Pinto, and they actually use videos of him now, of course, and they alter his voice, they alter his looks, and they can actually digitalize videos now, stolen videos, and make his face turn a certain way. So if you're video chatting with someone and you tell them to turn their head to the left or right, some scammers have software where they can manipulate the video to make, like Dr. Pinto's head, turn left or right. So that's why it's always a good idea to ask somebody while you're on video, write my name on paper, while on video, cam chat, hold it up next to your face and let me see that, because technology hasn't come that far where they can't do it, where they can't do that. So, but yeah, they can definitely change their appearance. They can definitely, there's even an app now that scammers are using in Yahoo boy groups that can take someone's photo ID and they can digitalize it, take the face and change it a little bit and upload the ID and verify profiles with it. So they're doing a lot, and as technology moves forward, so are the scammers' ability to scam. And it's unfortunate, but it really does happen quite often. So Thanks everyone for joining the chat. Hi to anyone I missed. I hope you guys are doing good. Again, if you have any questions, you can write them in the chat. I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible. And then we're just going to go through a few questions that people wrote in. Next question we have, has there been an increase in charity, disability, and unemployment scams? Yes. So unemployment scams are huge right now. And unfortunately what's happening is we're having victims that are getting scammed and not realizing it. So they talk to somebody online, they're in an online relationship, and that person says, hey, can you send me your ID and your information? I want to give you some money. And so some victims, and quite a few unfortunately, will give their ID and their social security card to a scammer and their bank information. And that scammer will say, oh, I'm going to take care of you, honey. I'm going to give you some money. Just give me your bank info. And they hand everything over. Sometimes the scammer will put a couple $100s in the account, but most times they hear nothing. The scammer blocks the person. That's the end of the story. What the scammer does is turn around and file an unemployment claim in your state. And they file it under your name, your social security number, and all your information. And then they use your bank account to accept the money. They log into your bank. They get all your bank details because you've given it to them. And they take that money out, or they have that money transferred to a different account, a different online account. So unemployment scams are definitely on the rise. Disability scams, not as much. Disability in America is extremely hard to get. You pretty much have to be brain dead to get disability in this country. So disability, not so much, but unemployment, definitely. Charity scams are on the rise. We have, and unfortunately, if you guys follow the news, what's happening in India right now with all of the COVID stuff going on and people dying and all this horrible stuff going on. They're running out of oxygen. They have all these medical issues. Scammers have honed in on that, and they are now pretending to be charities wanting to help people in India, and they're not legit, and so they are pretending to be charity scams, orphanage scam companies, and they're luring people in to donate money, and unfortunately it's happening quite often, more so now with the pandemic, because people are feeling sad for others who are suffering, and they're unknowingly giving money just to scammers. Why won't Facebook remove them when you report them as fake, even when you send proof? Well, it's a good question. Facebook doesn't care, quite frankly. Facebook is greedy. They're based on money. As many profiles as they can get up, that's more money, more advertisement, more money in their pockets. Most times when you report a fake profile, it goes to an automated system. And the automated system will look at the profile. It's almost like a robot looking at it, say, oh, it's fine. And they click it on. And there are, interestingly enough, Facebook information centers where people work. It's similar to like a call center, but they sit at their computer and they take in all these reports, they look at them, and they pass them on. Well, Lagos, Nigeria has a bigger data center for Facebook. And so there's tons of data centers in Lagos that are actually reviewing Facebook profiles, and that could be one of the reasons as well. Most times it's just because it's a robot. It's just a robotic thing. They get 50 million profiles a day and they just push them through. Sometimes it takes a mass reporting. Sometimes it takes 500 people to report the same profile before it gets taken down, and it's frustrating, but it happens quite often, unfortunately. Do you think it's good to ask MOS, is this good to be sure about their identity? There's key questions you can ask, especially when it comes to military, but a lot of times scammers now that are using like military profiles, like even if you asked them what their mailing address is or APO box or anything, they'll just throw something out. They will find a real soldier's information online, or find a place where soldiers are getting mail overseas or whatever, and they'll just give you that address because they know you're not going to send nothing, and so they can do that. That's the same reason why people, scammers using fake profiles will give you an address in the States and say, this is where I live, and you look it up and it's a house for sale. And the reason they do this, they go on sites like Zillow and look up houses for sale, pick a really nice house and say, that's where I live. Because if you send a card or a package to a house that's for sale, it will get delivered. And the reason why is because the Postal Service doesn't really realize if someone has moved in there or not, so they will deliver packages of mail to empty houses. That's why they give you addresses like that. The best thing, when you're talking to, especially a military person online, the best thing you can do is, keep in mind that real military men and women aren't sitting online chatting to strangers. They're not chatting to you from war zones. They're not chatting to you from a deployment place. They're not talking to you from a secret, sniper mission. And most military men and women online are not on at all. They're not online looking for love while they're deployed. And we had a really great note written by a former female soldier who laid it out for you basically. They're not looking for love online. You know, if you're talking to a military guy online and he tells you he's deployed but he can't video chat and, you know, it's a secret mission and all that, it's going to be a scammer right away. It's always going to be a scammer. So just keep that in mind. Facebook has stopped me from liking posts or religious posts. Facebook is very biased. So now we've had this issue with a lot of folks, whether you be into political stuff or religious stuff. Facebook will actually stop you from liking or sharing some certain post if it doesn't fit their criteria. They're very biased, and so it's happening to a lot of people. It's frustrating because Facebook will allow scammers to openly trade credit card numbers on their platform, but you can't like a post that says you love Jesus or you're Muslim or whatever. It's just how Facebook is. They censor a lot of people, unfortunately. Can you explain about URL links? I thought you had your name in the link, but I was told it can be from where you live. Okay, so this is a great question, and I'm glad that you asked that, Charmaine. I need glasses. I'm getting old. So URLs, let's talk about a URL. So every single Facebook profile has a URL. If you're on computer, it's going to be at the top of your toolbar. It'll say http://facebook.com/ and then those numbers or whatever is after the end of it is the URL. So there's two ways you can have a URL on Facebook. The first way to have one is if you create a profile but you don't verify that profile with a phone number. Facebook will not let you verify your profile with a Google Voice number or a TextNow number. It has to be an actual home phone or a cell phone number. If you verify your profile by putting your phone number in the About section and verifying that phone number, they will allow you to change your URL to whatever you want, and you can only change it once. So it's not based on your name. It's not based on anything other than what you made it. So for example, my Facebook URL, you know, I don't have my name on it. It's actually something that I like to do. It's a hobby. So I'll just give you an example, like facebook.com/drummerboy, okay? So that's the URL I chose. Anyone can change your URL to what they want. If you like to go fly fishing, you could change your URL to facebook.com/flyfishingman. And if that URL is not taken, you can use it. You can only do that if you've verified your URL through your phone number. If you've not verified your Facebook through a phone number, it stays facebook.com/ and it'll be like 10 or 15 numbers. It stays that way until you verify it. The thing of it is scammers, what they're doing is they're using their real profile and they're just changing their profile photo and their name. So you can't change a URL once it's been verified and you've made that URL. So I'll give you an example. Let's say a scammer in Nigeria has a Facebook profile and his name is Michael Oyewale, okay? And he verified his Facebook account with his phone number. And so he changed his URL to Moneyboy Nigeria. And so his URL will always be facebook.com/Moneyboy Nigeria. Well, let's say this scammer decided he's going to pretend to be Bob Smith, oil rig worker, and he changes his profile photo and he changes his name on his profile. The URL will always stay the same. So that's a good way to indicate if you're talking to a scammer. Like, for example, if you're talking to a man named Bob Smith and he has a photo of a guy on an oil rig, but the URL is facebook.com/Yahoo Boy Nigeria, you're talking to a scammer who is using their own profile to try and scam you, and they've just changed the photo and the name. URLs can get confusing. You know, it's hard to explain it in a post, but again, if you see a URL that's just numbers, that means they haven't verified that profile with a phone number. And it doesn't mean they're necessarily fake, because a lot of people don't want to use their phone number on Facebook to verify themselves, and that's perfectly okay. But if you see one that has facebook.com/BobLovesFishing.com, then that means it's a verified profile with a phone number. But again, neither one mean that they're legit. It just means one's verified, one's not. So I hope that kind of makes sense to you guys. We've had a lot of people ask us about URLs and how they operate. Is it possible that scammers can have more than one Facebook account? Sure. They can have as many as they want. Sometimes Facebook, if you make too many Facebook accounts, and this, I have several Facebook accounts that I use just for scam baiting. If you make 2 or 3 or 4 Facebook accounts on one device, like on one laptop or one computer using the same modem and the same IP address, Facebook might see that and they'll kick you off of it and ask for ID. But for the most part, you can have as many Facebook accounts as you want to have. Scammers can create 50 of them if they want to, and they actually, a lot of them do. They create what's called backup accounts. So they'll make 4 accounts with the name Bob Smith, same photos, same about section, same everything, and if one of them is removed, then they have another backup account that they can go to. So yeah, there's no limit on Facebook accounts, and it's kind of funny because when I first joined Facebook, I thought only one household could have one account. It was really funny, but yeah, you could have as many as you want. As many as you want. I saw a couple questions you guys asked, and they're going really quick. I found a lot of URLs say promise precious. It's yes. They're not. Are they always scammers? It doesn't necessarily mean they're always scammers, but it's. Let's talk about, okay, the profile photo is a businessman with a suit and tie or a soldier, and his name is Bob Smith, but his URL is ITZ Precious. It's Precious. Then that kind of tells you that it's probably a Nigerian or West African female who's pretending to be a soldier. So a lot of young West Africans use ITZ, it's, before their name, like It's Precious or It's Money Boy or It's Michael or whatever. It's just a thing for that area of the world. Similar to a lot of Middle Eastern people, a lot of people from India, a lot of people from Pakistan, they'll use MD in their name, which is short for Muhammad. So it doesn't necessarily mean they're scammers. It just means that you need to look closely at their profile. And as I said, if you're talking to a soldier named James Smith and his URL is It's Precious, then yeah, it's gonna definitely be a scammer. When your scammer uses an email and you block them, will they still use that same email with others? Possibly. It depends. It really depends. A lot of scammers will use the same email address to scam other people. Some scammers only use one email address for each victim. So they'll have 50 email addresses, and they create these email addresses specifically for that specific scam, and then they move on to another one. It really depends on the scammer themselves. But they can. Trying to catch up with your guys' questions. I don't want to miss anybody. If I do miss your question, just ask it again because the chat goes pretty fast. Do scammers pay American men to pretend to love the victims and then they talk live to them? Yes. So let's talk about this. Yes. There are Americans and Australians, New Zealanders, Kiwis, people in the UK that will work for scammers. And there's a guy in Indiana, and he's in a lot of the Yahoo boy groups. We've watched him for a number of years. He actually will make videos. He's an American. He will make videos for scammers and let them use his photos for a percentage of the money that they get from victims. It does happen. It happens often. They'll pay him via PayPal or Western Union with another victim's money and say, here's $50, make me a video of yourself saying, I love you, Sally, and they'll do it. And they have talked to him on the phone. They have used, it depends. I mean, victims are called clients. They call them clients. And sometimes they will have American people working and pretending to be the person in the video or the person in the photo or whatever, calling on the phone. The best route with that, because we always tell people, video chat, make them write your name on paper. Not a lot of victims use Americans. A lot of them that do are very sophisticated scammers. They've been doing it for a long time. They're in the Yahoo boys, they're G boys. They're more detailed with how they scam. They scam for big money. At the end of the day, really it comes down to if someone asks you for money, your bank account or any information, you just need to block them. I mean, that even if they can video chat with you, even if they do voice chat with you and they sound American, If they ask you for anything, just totally block them. Hi, everyone's joining the chat. Hi, Judy. Good to see you. Can you tell us about those secret packages? Sure. Let me read up on your first part of the question. I get scared about a guy trying to convince me that he wanted to send me a package. Is this a usual trick? Yeah. So let's talk about the package scam. This is how it works. You meet somebody online, a really nice guy, and he's business savvy, and or it could be the military, and he's abroad, and he has asked for your address, so you give it to him, and he says, I sent you a package. I've sent you a package with gold, purses, shoes, jewelry, $10,000 in cash, a new iPhone, and here's photos of what I'm sending you. And so that oftentimes scammers will, using fake profiles, will send you a photo of this awesome package that they've sent you. Then what happens is a delivery company or a tax company or a parcel shipment company or a airline shipment package company will send you an email or a message saying, we have your package, but we need you to pay the customs tax, the shipping tax, the clearance tax. The package was stopped in customs. You need to pay the port authority tax. So this is called a package scam. And in reality, what happens is there is no package, and the scammer will have a fake delivery company contact you. Sometimes they even go as far as to make a fake website showing the delivery company. They will then tell you, oh, you have to pay $1,000 to clear the package. And so victims will pay that money, and that's it, end of scam. There'll never be a package. There's no such package. There's no such delivery company. Oftentimes the websites are built by the scammers. The best thing you can do if someone has sent you a package, block them. Because it's not going to be real. It's not going to be a real package. It's just going to be a way to try and scam you. The delivery companies or sometimes the shipping company or the port authority or the whatever will contact you and say, if you don't pay, you'll go to jail, or all these things will happen. Packages don't work that way. Shipping doesn't work that way. I've shipped and received packages from all over the world. Never in my life have I had to pay a big amount of tax or money or anything. So if anyone does send you a package like that, just block them. It's definitely going to be a scammer, and it's just called the package scam, and that's end of the scam. Why can't Western Union and iTunes be held accountable? They are making millions. It's a good question, Gloria. I think you might have asked that on our post. So Western Union got into a lot of trouble a couple of years ago. They were letting anybody and their mother send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, and to a lot of West African countries where scamming is very prevalent. What happened is they got hit with a class action lawsuit, which went through and the judge approved it, and they had to pay back, I think it was something like $20-some million, might have been more, in restitution to victims who sent money via Western Union to scammers. Since that happened, it's a little bit harder now for them to send money. It's hard now. If you were to go to Western Union right now and send money from your state to Nigeria, you would have a very, very, very hard time, because there's implement that they've put in place that they have to ask you why, when, where, and they're making it harder. But it depends on the clerk. It depends on where you live. Sometimes the clerks will just say, okay, whatever, you're sending $1,000 to Nigeria, boom. They're all about making money. Same with MoneyGram, same with Facebook, same with any company. It's about the money. Unfortunately, it comes down to the companies want to make money. They don't care how. The only legal thing they have to do is make a little pamphlet that says, hey, be aware of scams. And it's up to you. You're on your own free will. If someone wants to send $10,000 to Nigeria, that they can't really stop you because it's your choice. They can only advise you that this might be a scam. Some clerks that do money transfers, they will stop people from sending money. It all depends on the clerk. A lot of times cashiers at a grocery store, if you buy $500 in iTunes cards, most of them just scan them, take your money and go. Some of them, though, will stop and say, can I ask you why you're doing this? And they have the legal right to ask, but at the end of the day, we're all of our own free will, so we can do what we want. And that's kind of what it comes down to. So it's more important to stop people from sending money or from getting educated about scams first before they get to that point where they are sending money, so they realize that they are being scammed. But yeah, legally companies only just have to put out a pamphlet warning you about scams, and that's it. That's all they have to do. Thank you, Susan. Thanks, everyone who with the nice comments. Really appreciate it. I got hooked up with that type of scam. Got a tracking number supposedly to the airport. Yeah, they even will say your package is at the airport, and there's no package. What about people with new Facebook accounts trying to scam people by selling T-shirts in Facebook groups? I'll tell you what, Facebook Marketplace is like worse than Craigslist. I used to sell things off of Craigslist back 10, 15 years ago, and buy things off of Craigslist, and you would get a lot of weird people on there. But Facebook groups and Facebook Marketplace, it comes down to Facebook doesn't care. You're your own free will, and they just allow people to sell and scam people on their platform. They have for years. There's nothing they're going to do about it, even though they say they care. They really don't care. The only thing you can do in that case is report the person, or report the account, and hopefully it gets taken down. But with Facebook groups and Facebook Marketplace, it is like rolling the dice on whether or not you'll get scammed. I see people selling things in Facebook groups that I live in an area that's very touristy. A lot of wealthy people come here to go golfing and fishing and whatever. And I see people on Facebook groups and local groups here selling things for 50 times the price they should be, and then they never, follow through on the transaction. It's very, very common. The best advice I can give you on that, if you get scammed or you think it's a scam, to report it, even though it might not do any good. It doesn't hurt to report it. And don't buy things off of Facebook Marketplace. Unless you're going to meet that person in the parking lot of Costco and you know they're legit, don't send money online to people. Have you had any dealings with this bad scammer group, the Black Axe, worse than Yahoo Boys? Yeah. I had, Anna myself, Black Axe, we've dealt with them before. I've had them threaten to cut my head off. I've had them send me photos of beheaded people saying, I know where you live, you're next. I've had members of the Black Axe a couple of years ago found out where I work, and they ended up calling my job and telling me they were going to murder me. So yes, we have dealt with them before, and quite frankly, I don't live in fear. If someone wants to try to come to my house and kill me, good luck. I live in a secured building, but yeah, they do send threats. They do send nasty stuff to us every once in a while. We haven't gotten a death threat in a while, but I'm sure we'll get one. I had one a couple months ago from one of the Black Axe people, and they said they were going to come to my home and murder me and cut my eyeballs out and all kinds of crazy stuff, and I'm still here. So I don't let people scare me. Anne lives in a place where it's very difficult to get to, and I live in a very secured building, an armed home, so I don't worry about people coming to my house to kill me. But yeah, they do make threats. They are very nasty. They have connections all over the United States and Canada and Mexico, and it's very possible their threats could come through, but I'm not worried about it at this point. How does it work when someone requests you send money through Facebook Messenger? I would never do it, but I'd like to be informed. So I've never actually sent money through Facebook Messenger. Skype has a similar one, and Anna and myself mess around with it sometimes, and we ask each other for $1 million for fun. I think it's connected to either your Cash App or your bank account. You can send money, and you can hook up your Facebook to send cash. There's an option to put your bank information on there, and then you can transfer the money, and when you hit send money, it sends it directly out of your bank account to the person. That person would have to have a Cash App or a PayPal or something hooked up to their account as well, and it just wires it back and forth. It happens. People do it a lot. It's legit. If you have a family member that says, hey, I'm stuck, I need $50, you can send it that way, and I believe it goes through the PayPal or Cash App, and the money goes from your bank to their account and their account to your bank and vice versa. So I would never use it. That's just my own personal thing. But I don't like to use online money transfer or anything like that. I'm very, very suspicious of especially with Facebook. I wouldn't do it. I got scammed out of $1,850. My Facebook account was hacked. Changed my password and name. It happens a lot. Scammers will get access to your email. They may send you a code. They might get into your... They do like to hack into Facebook accounts of victims. It happens quite often, unfortunately, and I'm sorry that happened to you. And Facebook is useless to try and get help. You write to Facebook, and you're lucky if you ever hear from them again. They're not like they used to be, where you could submit your ID or talk and say, hey, I've been hacked, and someone from Facebook actually responds. Nowadays, they don't even answer you, which is unfortunate. Debbie, did anyone get money from the Western Union lawsuit? Yes, we've known a couple of victims that came to us a few years ago. They got money. In fact, we knew one lady that got quite a bit back from Western Union. We're talking in the tens of thousands she got back. So it's some people have gotten money back. Some people have gotten a couple hundred. Some people have gotten a couple thousand, and some people have gotten tens of thousands of dollars, depending on how much they had actually sent. But yes, people have gotten their money back, and hopefully some did. I mean, some people, they lost $5,000 and they got back $1,000, but at least they got something back, which was good to hear. Susan, I got an email from someone that said they will send all my nude photos and videos to all my friends, but I've never sent pictures in the videos. It is a scam. It's a sextortion scam. Whether you sent videos or not, scammers will, what they do, and it's just quite funny. And Debbie, I'll grab your question next. My old lady Betty has a Facebook account and had a scammer a couple years ago who I found out was a scammer. I kind of played with him a little bit. I knew he was fake. And he sent a message to Betty saying, if you don't give me $1,000, I'm going to send a nude photo of you to all your family. And I had never sent nude photos as Betty, of course. What the scammer did, it was done quite well. He actually found a photo of a naked woman around the age of Betty, and he found it from a porn site. I was able to trace the photo. He photoshopped Betty's head on the naked video, or the naked photo. And he goes, if you don't send me money, I'm sending this to your family. I told him to go for it, and he blocked me. It's a scare tactic. It's a scare tactic that people use to, that scammers use to scare victims. And a lot of victims do get scared, and they send money. And Anna and myself will tell you the same thing. Whether you have sent nude photos or you haven't, never, ever, ever pay a scammer. Because even if you did send nude photos and he has those photos and then you sent money to stop him from showing those photos, he's going to turn around, take your money, and then come back and say, I want another $5,000. He always has that photo. So the best thing you can do is just block. Block him. Don't even be scared. Just block him. I mean, when the scammer sent nude photo of Betty, I laughed so hard I about fell out of my chair. So it's definitely a scam. How do you get money back from Western Union? So there was a class action lawsuit 2 years ago that you could sign up for. That if you were the victim of a scam, the Federal Trade Commission had a class action lawsuit that you could sign up for, and you could submit all the information of where you sent money and things like that. And if you were part of that lawsuit, you had a deadline. I think it was May of 2019. And then finally this last year, the lawsuit settled, and people that had signed up got refund checks. And they got letters from the court in the mail that said, here's your refund from that. There is a scammer, Nigerian scammer, who's been arrested in Oklahoma City. He's being indicted right now. They have seized his bank accounts, and he has quite a bit of money in it. I know that a few victims from our page have gotten summons for court saying you were listed in this suit against him, and we're working to seize his assets to return money that was sent to him. So if you do receive a letter like that, and it's from Oklahoma City court, that one is actually legit as well. They're trying to get money back. I got a message from USA FBI. I told them I was from... He blocked me. A lot of scammers pretend to be the FBI. A lot of scammers pretend to be law enforcement, and it's hilarious. Just keep in mind, and sadly victims fall for it. A lot of people don't realize the FBI is not going to message you on WhatsApp. They're not going to message you on any of that. Debbie, you never got anything back. I sent proof. I think they're still paying out. Like, it's going to take them a while. I would check the FTC.gov, Federal Trade Commission. Type in ftc.gov in your search bar and type in Western Union lawsuit. There's an 800 number if you live in the States, and if you want to inbox me, I can get it to you. You can call and check on the status of your lawsuit. and they'll tell you if you're getting anything back. But I can get you the number if you want to hit our inbox and just message me, and I'll get it to you after this is over. Because I had a lady that sent in all her information. She never heard anything back. She called the number, and they gave her a payday date of when she expected to get money back, and then she finally did. So it might help, it might not, but I'll get you the information and see if that is helpful. Next question, somebody asked, why are romance scams on the rise? Well, I mean, they're always going to be on the rise, but with the pandemic, with all that's going on, romance scams have just skyrocketed because people are home. People have been home for a year. People are struggling emotionally. They're struggling with, it depends on where you live. Like, there's some states and countries that are doing just fine. Where I live right now, everything has been closed down again. There's curfews. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Our hospitals are at capacity right now for COVID. People are, like, lots of people are getting it. And all of our ICU beds and everything are full in our hospitals here. So people are isolated. People are lonely. People are in their houses more, and you know, if you used to go out, even if it was once a week to dinner with friends, you're not doing it anymore. Like where I live, all our restaurants are closed for only takeout only. So romance scams are on the rise because people are going online to find companionship. They're going online to even find friendship, someone to talk to, someone to listen to them. People are lonely. You know, by nature, we're social creatures, and in this last year, all of that has been taken from us. And so we do go online to find companionship, friendship, love, romance. People are doing Zoom dates and Skype dates and things like that. People are going on dating sites now more than they ever have before. And a lot of it has to do with just, in general, how it is here, how this pandemic has changed how we socialize. And so scammers know that, and so they take advantage of that, unfortunately. And it's never going to end. It's just going to be continuous with scammers. People have gotten stimulus checks. People have gotten their IRS checks. They've gotten unemployment bonuses. And so scammers know that. Scammers watch the news. They know that, you know, most Americans got a stimulus check. Most Americans are getting their tax rebate checks now. So they're going after all that money. And that's one of the main reasons. And it's just going to continue to rise. It's just going to keep going up and up. Let's see. We had somebody wrote in a question. I've been talking to a man online. We met on Christian Mingle. We both went off the website. He wanted to say that he met his soulmate when he met me, and we should both go off the website together. When I checked, though, with the secondary profile, I saw his profile is still on there, but I cannot see him with my original profile where I met him. When I confronted him on this, he said that it was a mistake that they made trying to delete his profile. What do you think? So this happens often. Scammers will meet you on a site, like Tagged, Christian Mingle, wherever. And they will say, hey, I think you're the one. I think you're my soulmate, so I'm going to take myself off the website. I want you to do the same. Take your ad down. Take your profile down. And so they'll have victims take their profile down, so they have that victim, and they'll say, I'm going to take my profile down too. In reality, most times the scammers just block you from that site, and they block your profile, and they're still on there. Or they're on there with a different profile. If he's telling you that they made a mistake, the reality is he blocked your profile, and he's probably scamming other women at the same time he's talking to you. If someone you just met on a dating site, on a social site, wants you to take your profile down because you're their soulmate, don't do it. You know, no one is your soulmate until you've met them in person and really know who they are. You can't be someone's soulmate by chatting on the internet. You have to meet in person. You have to get to know each other. So if someone's asking you to do that, it's likely a scammer, and they want you to stop talking to other scammers or stop, you know, falling for somebody else so they can isolate you. The best thing you can do is just, if someone asks you to do that, tell them no. And if they don't go with it, then move on to somebody else. That's all you can do. Let's see. I got another friend request from someone pretending to be Dr. Pinto. God. And it's funny, he has pictures up of him and his girlfriend. He said it was his daughter. So Dr. Pinto is like the Justin Bieber of fake profiles. He's like the most popular heartthrob on fake profiles. Everybody's using Dr. Pinto. One of the main reasons scammers use his photos is because he has lots of them. His real Instagram, his verified Instagram, has
just thousands of photos of himself doing everything in the world, from eating to having a glass of wine to blowing you a kiss to holding flowers to making videos. And so scammers use those all. He's not at fault. He's a public figure. He has a public domain. But this bad part of it is scammers are using all of his photos. If you see a photo of Dr. Pinto on any profile, it's going to be a fake without a doubt. Just walk away. Memorize his face, because he's used quite often now in scams. Susan William, how can I support you and Ann? I feel donate to you guys. Yeah. So, okay, it's a good question. We usually don't promote it except on our YouTube, but we say we do have a Patreon account. It's patreon.com/scammingscammers. It's a safe, secure way if you guys want to subscribe, donate a couple bucks if you feel you want to. Also on our YouTube, I have our business address if you want to send a card or say thank you that way as well. We work for free. We always have, we always will, and we appreciate anyone that wants to donate if you want to. That's the best way to do it, and we're very humble people, so we don't necessarily know how to take people wanting to help us, but those are the two ways you can if you'd like to, and we appreciate it. Are there known scammers from Johannesburg, South Africa? Yes, there are. I have several friends, and you're right. I've got several friends from South Africa who have given me a really interesting insight into how scamming works down there. There are South Africans who scam, but it's kind of an issue where a lot of Nigerians and Ghanaians and Ivory Coast people come from there to South Africa to set up a life there, and they scam from there. They go there for work or they go there for different things, but a lot of them are, and I hate to say it, a lot of them are from Nigeria that travel to South Africa to scam. And then there are, South Africans that scam as well. We've found quite a few, but my friend in South Africa explained it to me that it's a stain on their country when people from other parts of Africa come to South Africa to scam, because it makes them look bad when in reality it's guest workers and things like that. It's the same concept as in Italy. There's a ton of guest workers, same as Saudi Arabia, a ton of guest workers that come from other countries, such as Nigeria, and they scam from the country that they're working in. My friend found a scammer's IP, but it was too late. An IP address really, a lot of times, it won't do you any good. Like, even if you knew where the scammer lived, the police don't have an interest in it. The EFCC gets 10,000 cases a day of scamming, and maybe they'll look at one or two of them that are taking massive amounts of money through bank fraud. But if you have their IP address and all that stuff, they're not going to do anything with it. It may tell you where the scammer's from, but a lot of times too, if a scammer is using a Gmail or a Yahoo, it's going to come back to California, because that's the base of Gmail and Yahoo. So we've had victims that have said to us, I found my scammer, he lives in Sunnyvale, California. And I say, well, how do you know that? Well, his IP address says Sunnyvale, California. And I say, what's his email? It's blah, blah, blah at Yahoo. And I said, well, Yahoo is located in that part of California, and that's what you're getting. So, but it can help sometimes if you use Grabify. You can get their email or their IP address, and it'll say Nigeria or wherever. But it's still, as far as catching a scammer, it won't do any good. But at least gives you a peace of mind of where they're at. Next question. Let's see. I was a victim of a scam. It's been over 2 years. I had no contact with the scammer, heard nothing, and now suddenly he contacted me with a new phone number through WhatsApp asking if I'm doing okay. He's thinking of me and so sorry. Would a scammer do this? Yes. So scammers, you have to think, are like salesmen. They keep your information and then they circle around and come back to you. Are you still interested? Do you still want to talk? It's the same concept. They do save all of your information. They save clients' information, whether you sent money or you didn't send money. They keep a list of all these people that they've talked to, their email addresses, their phone numbers. I've had scammers that have talked to Betty from 4 years ago come back just this year and say, are you okay? I'm thinking of you. It's just the way they are. They keep your information like a bad salesman. They'll come back and call you and say, are you still wanting to buy that car? It's just how they are, and it happens. Are people requesting advertising space to page admins through messaging on pages offering hundreds of dollars to advertise ads? Woo, you flew up. Offer hundreds of dollars to advert their ads a scam to get your bank details. I get requests all the time on a page I admin. I got one from a Spanish-speaking profile who, when I investigated the profile, didn't speak Spanish. Yes, that is kind of a new scam. I get them all the time because of our YouTube channel. I get ones that are sending me information saying, hey, if you, for $100 or for $500, I can get you ad space. I can get you this. I can get you that. They do it on YouTube. They do it on Facebook as well. It is a scam. You know, there are people like on Instagram that pay for followers, and they pay companies and they pay influencers to hook them up with followers. But when they ask for money like that and saying that they can advert and do these things like that, it's most always a scam. And it's always best to block and never send money. I mean, we've never paid for advertisement. We've never paid for anything on our page, and people like that are just trying to scam you. Especially if they, you know, they're Spanish-speaking profile and they don't speak Spanish, or they're using a translator and everything they're saying is coming out all messed up. It's definitely going to be a scammer. Hi, Brenda. Good to see you. Watch out for another scammer I talked to. He said his name is Paul McDonald. This so-called person called me on Hangouts one time, and I could tell he was from Nigeria. I blocked him, and he wanted to send me a laptop and ship it. Yeah, FedEx should... with a laptop. So they do that. A lot of scammers, and it's sad because people fall for it. A lot of scammers will offer with fake profiles to send you something. Oh, you need a laptop? I'll send you a laptop. You know, I've got money. I'll send you a new car, or I'll send you money. It's just part of this. Comes down to, again, it's a shipping scam, and there'll never be a laptop. There'll never be a gold watch. There'll never be purses. There'll never be any of that. It's a way that scammers are targeting people that, you know, maybe they do need something, and they're thinking that they're going to get something for free from a nice person, and it's just, it happens often. Need to know if this is fake or not. We're trying to reach you. Please confirm your email with your account credit. That's a scam. If you get any email like that, it's a scam. If you get an email from someone wanting you to confirm your account, your email, your address, your phone number, your credit, pending transaction, any of that, it's going to be definitely a scam. Just block it completely. Their English and writing is very poor. Doesn't make sense. Dear, have you eaten of yet? Have you eaten today? Have you taken your food, dear? So it comes down to, think about it. If you're talking to a man that says he's from Texas City and he's born and raised in Texas City, and he asks you if you've taken your food and how is the weather condition, you know, unfortunately scammers, at the end of the day, no matter where they're from, they always revert back to where they're from. So, you know, you're talking to somebody online that says they're from Texas, and they use phrases that are not typical of an American. It's a great red flag. I love when they ask things like that. A dear friend of mine got scammed of $10K. I use these stories to keep open their eyes. Scammers are truly scum. They are, and unfortunately, more and more people are losing more money every day, and it's happening. We're having a lot of victims losing money to Forex, Bitcoin investment scams. So again, we tell people, if you want to invest in Bitcoin, if you want to do Forex trading, if you want to do stocks and be a big baller on Wall Street, go through a legit company. Don't go through somebody on Facebook that you met. You know, go ahead and go to, you know, an investment brokerage firm, somebody that you know is legit, you know, that you can walk into in person and say, look, I want to do this, and tell them what you want to do, and they can help you. It's these Forex trading scams where they show that you've made $10,000 for a $5 investment is always going to be a scam. You don't get money for nothing. And I've known people that have invested in stocks and bonds and things for years, and they make a lot of money, but they do it over time, and it's not, you know, something where they put $5 into someone on Facebook, give them their bank account, and they make $1 million. It doesn't work that way. It never has. It never will. Money doesn't come easy, no matter what you're trying to do. So we tell people that all the time. Next question we have is, I met a man on Silver Singles dating site. He says he's an American but was raised in Poland. He claims to be a Native American. When I asked him his tribe, where he's from, he says American. I clearly found he's a scammer, but why do they say that they're Native American when they know nothing about what it means? That comes down to the scammer being from a country that they don't understand how things are in America. So we see a lot of scammers using fake profiles, and they say they're Native American. And scammers from places like Ghana, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, South Africa, they tend to think that Native American means that the person is native to America, that they're an American, and so they don't really understand what being Native American means. So oftentimes you can trick a scammer, and if you see that they're Native American, you can say, well, what tribe are you from? And they have no clue. They don't know what it means. They'll say, oh, I'm native to America. So it's funny in a way, but it's sad because people do fall for it. But if you're from the United States, you know that what it means to be Native American. You know what that entails. So it's just kind of funny. It's just a funny thing they do. They're uneducated about American lifestyle. The same reason why everybody's from California City. And if you've ever been to California City, it's not a hot happening beach place. It's not a horrible place, but it's a very isolated place. It's not how scammers portray where they're from. So, Debbie, why do young Nigerian girls scam? Same reason as everyone else. It's money. They make money. Being a scammer, we have friends in Nigeria that have explained this to us several times. Being a scammer, especially in the youth, like 15 to 20-year-old youths, it's like being a rock star. So if you make $500,000 off a victim, and you live in Nigeria and you're 20 years old, that's like the equivalent to being a rock star. And so it's a lifestyle. It's a way for them to make money, and a lot of them, they do make good money at it. I mean, there are not a lot of jobs in Nigeria. I understand that. But they make money off of it. They sit at a computer, sit at a phone, and tell you BS stories and make $5,000 when they could make the equivalent of that working, for 6 months or more. So it's a way for the youth to make money, and they're doing it because people are still sending money every day. Thank you, Brenda. I got a friend request on Instagram. They had over 7,000 followers but had only 2 posts on their account. Could it be a scammer as well? It could be. Instagram is one of those interesting things because we look at fake Instagrams and we'll see like 1 post, 3 followers, and they're following 50 women. It's a military profile. It's fake. A lot of them now are, having thousands and thousands of followers and not posting it. And it could be possible to fake. It depends on the photo. It depends on what they're saying. Each profile is different, but it is a red flag because most Instagram people and Instagram influencers might have 500,000 followers, but they have 75 posts and lots of comments and lots of stuff. Scammers tend to have 1 or 2 posts, 1 or 2 photos, a soldier and a bucket of flowers, and then 2 posts, and that's a big red flag. I'll just check in and see if I missed any comments. So we got a couple more questions people asked. I'm sorry if I miss any of your questions in the chat. Just ask them again and I'll grab them. Next question we had asked was, I've come across a profile that's fake and the man's photos are all over dating sites. I've tried to find the real man and warn him, but it was all in vain as I only found more scammers. Why don't the men in the stolen pictures stop the scammers from doing this? It's a great question. So let's talk about this. You found out you're talking to a fake profile. You love the man in the photo and you want to find out who he is because you want to warn him that his photos are being used. Or it's somebody like Dr. Pinto, and you want to let him know that his photos are being used. He needs to do something about it. So it comes down to a few things. One, the man in the stolen photo is an innocent victim. He's not a scammer. He's not involved in scamming. He's not getting paid for scammers to use his photos. None of that happens, okay? Scammers don't pay for photos. They get them for free. He's an innocent victim. A lot of times these men who have had their photos stolen, they're aware that they're stolen. There's nothing they can do about it. They can't go up to the scammer and go, hey, give me my photo back. For one, it's digital. You can't, it's not like the 80s where if you're mad at someone, you tear the photo up, throw it away. So the real man can do nothing about it. In the digital age, if one scammer has your photo, 10,000 scammers have your photo. It's not just one scammer. It's going to be 10,000 of them from 4 different countries that are using your photos. They can't take them back. They can't stop them. They can report the fake profiles, but that's all they can do. The men in the photos are innocent. The women in the photos are innocent victims. They're not involved with the scam. A lot of times they're aware their photos are stolen. They can do nothing about it, and they've had, 50 other scorned women come to them screaming and yelling at them saying, why did you scam me, not realizing that it's just an innocent man. A lot of times when you go on a search for the man in the photo, you end up finding more fakes, and those fakes will come forward and say, oh, thank you, honey, thank you for telling me that my photos are being used. I'll get the FBI to take care of that. You're so pretty, can I talk to you? And so they try to scam you as the real man, and in reality it's just another scammer. The best thing you can do is, like I tell people, realize that the people in the stolen photos are innocent victims. It's not their fault. They're not scamming. They're not involved in scamming. They are victims of a crime. They've had their photos stolen. And that's it. You need to move on with your life. You need to stop searching for this man. The man is not going to fall in love with you. The man is not going to come be your husband. And they're not going to stop the scammer, because there's nothing they can do. So the best thing you can do, if you find out you've been talking to a fake profile, block the person and move on with your life. Don't go on this endless search to find the real man so you can let him know his photos are stolen. He probably likely knows. Hi, Ann. Good to see you. Hope you're doing good. Hi, Gene. Good to see you as well. Thanks for joining us tonight. I've got a couple more questions, and then if you missed our Q&A, I'll upload this to YouTube as well after it's all over. So I think we had a couple more questions in the chat, and then or the written in. And if you have any questions in the chat, I'll answer them, or any subjects you want me to bring up. Why do scammers have their real photos on fake profiles? Do they forget to hide them? They do. So we see this often. We'll see a profile, Bob Smith. It's a photo of Dr. Pinto, but if you go down into the albums, you'll see photos of like a young West African guy, 50 photos. They forget to hide those photos, and it's good because it gives us an opportunity to show their real faces. But scammers will use their own profiles to create a fake profile, and they forget to hide their photos. And so, or they forget that they were tagged in a photo, or something in the album they think is private is not, and so their real photos are up there. That just means that they're using their real profile to try and scam. They've changed the profile photo and they've changed the name, but they haven't hidden their album. It's great for us because we can expose a lot of scammers that way. But that's one of the main reasons. They're just using their own profiles. They don't know what they're doing, and they didn't hide their photos, and it's great. So we're happy when they do that. And I saw a video of Dr. Fernando did that he talked about, yes, he was scammed, and women have come to his house with the FBI saying he scammed them and were ready to arrest him. He had to prove that he did not do this, that he was scammed. It could happen. I mean, it's hard for victims to differentiate between the photo is stolen and that man is not a criminal. So we see this often. People will post on our page, this man is a scammer. And it's like, it's like a photo of a general, somebody that is not scamming. But the victims in their mind think that is the man that scammed them, and they don't realize that it's a stolen photo. It's stolen. It's just, that's just the way it is. And they don't want to believe that, that man in that photo is not the scammer, and he's not. In all the years we've been doing this, we have never seen an actual stolen photo be the man who scammed the person. So it's always going to be somebody else. It's always going to be a stolen photo. Even if you delete your photo, it's still on the cloud. How can you permanently delete? I'll have to Google that because I'm not sure how to delete off the cloud, but let me research that and I'll let you know. Because keep in mind, we're in a digital age now, so when you upload a photo online, it's probably there for permanent. I found photos of, that I've uploaded on MySpace from back in like 2003 are still online. I mean, it's crazy how photos just stay on there. But let me do some research on how to delete if it's in the cloud and see. I'll do a post because that I'm not sure of. I wonder that when I see dislikes on YouTube videos. Now I'm going to put my Facebook on total lockdown to be safe. Yeah, you should. I mean, we have some instructions on how to do that as well. People don't realize that their Facebook profile, a lot of people don't realize they upload these photos of like their kid's birthday party or their event or their house, and they don't mark them as friends only or private, and so all those photos are out in the open, and that's how scammers find photos to steal as well. They go through Facebook profiles and the Instagram profiles and they steal photos from all over, take all those photos they've stolen, put them together, make a fake profile and a fake life, and that's kind of what happens quite often. People need to really protect themselves. Says, will you be doing a night where you calling scam numbers? I will. I haven't been on YouTube very much lately. I've got a lot of stuff going on in my life right now that I haven't discussed, and so I haven't been putting a lot of effort into YouTube lately just because of time. But I will make a time in the next week or so to call as Betty. I want to do a YouTube live pretty soon. It's just been basically just some personal stuff, so I haven't put a lot of effort into YouTube. But I will call scammers soon. So if you have any numbers or anything, you're welcome to give them to me, and I'll put them on the list to be called. We have a couple more questions left. I know you've likely covered this before, but why do scammers using fake profiles want you on WhatsApp or Hangouts right away? What's the point? That's a great question, and people ask this often. So scammers will have fake profiles on many platforms: Facebook, Instagram, dating sites, Facebook dating, Our Time, Match, and they'll get victims from all these sites. The thing of it is, though, is let's say a scammer created a fake profile on Facebook and he met a victim. Well, that fake profile might get taken down right away. It could be Facebook asked for ID. It could be that the dating sites was suspicious and they cut his profile off. Once they cut that profile off, they lose contact with the victim. So it's easier for a scammer when they first meet you within the first few minutes of chat. What's your WhatsApp? Let's talk on WhatsApp. It's a better place. They do this because they can put you and other victims on one app, whether they get you from Facebook, another from Our Time, another one from Instagram, another one from Silver Singles. They can put you all on one app. It's harder to get kicked off of WhatsApp or Hangouts because they're not going to get reported to be a fake. And they can keep all the victims in one place. And that way, if their fake profile gets taken down, they still have you on WhatsApp or Hangouts. And that's why they do it. Oftentimes they'll say, oh, it's more secure on WhatsApp, dear, because of my job. I can't talk on this site. I'm never on this site. Let's go to WhatsApp. And that's why they're doing it. They want to keep all their victims in one place, just in one place. Said the scammers use Dr. Fernando. He's a well-known neurosurgeon in Brazil. He is. Dr. Pinto is awesome. He's a great surgeon. He's a great man. He just unfortunately is caught up in being used by romance scammers, and that it's hard because there's nothing he can really do, and he is in the public eye, so they're going to steal his photos. But yeah, Dr. Pinto himself is a great person. It's just the scammers that make him look bad. Can you call someone who says they're in the military and do a Betty voice? Sure. Give me their number, and I will add it on our list. And then when we do a live stream call, I'll give them a call and see if they talk. We have one more question, and then we'll probably wrap this up. The last question I have is: I told a scammer I have no money. Why don't victims just tell them that they have no money, and a scammer will go to someone else? Right? Wrong. So a lot of people have this misconception that they think if they tell a scammer, I'm poor, I'm broke, I ain't got no money, the scammer will go away. It's further from the truth. What the scammer will do is he will turn around and say, oh, are you struggling, dear? Give me your bank account information and I'll put some money in for you. And the scammer will give you money. They'll give you money from a victim, and they'll start using your bank account as a vessel to filter stolen money. And when it comes down to the victims getting the information and finding out they've been scammed, it links back to your bank account, and you're the one who's going to get in trouble, not the scammer. So if you tell a scammer you don't have money, they will find a use for you. As we've talked about before, scammers have a use for all victims. And so they will sit there and say, well, honey, if you don't have any money, give me your bank information, or give me your credit card information and I'll pay your credit card for you, or give me your login for your phone and I'll pay your phone bill for you. And they will. They'll pay your phone bill with someone else's money. And while they're in your T-Mobile account paying your bill, they're ordering iPhones off your social security number, your credit, your account. So the best thing you can do, don't tell a scammer anything. Don't tell them you're poor. Don't tell them you're rich. Just block them. And it'll save you a world of trouble. But don't get caught up in the misconception that because you're poor that you won't be a victim of a scam, because a scammer will find a use for you. When I played a different character other than Betty, I played a different female character before, and she pretended to be very poor. She was on Social Security. She got $800 a month in Social Security. She pretended to be very poor. The scammers all wanted to use me as a money mule. And so they find a use for everybody. So just keep that in mind. Just block them. That's the best thing you can do. But yeah, Hangouts is full of scammers. So is WhatsApp. I mean, WhatsApp's not bad. You can use it for, for talking to family and friends abroad and things like that. But if you're talking to somebody online and they insist you go to WhatsApp right away, it's definitely going to be a scam and a scammer, and they're just trying to get you to download the app so they can put you with all the other victims and talk to you that way. And plus they get your phone number, and then they share your phone number with other scammers and share your phone number with other groups of Yahoo boys that will make your life hell, because they'll all add you to WhatsApp, and pretty soon you'll get 50 messages a day on WhatsApp and calls all day and all night from scammers using fake profiles. So just keep that in mind. So if you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to wrap up our April 2021 Q&A. I just want to fill you guys in on a couple things before I leave. If you tell them you have no money, they got you on the hook. They will beg and plead with you for money. Oh, yeah. They are starving. I told one once before, if you're from Nigeria or you're so hungry, go find a goat and cook it. I had a scammer from Nigeria who told me he hadn't eaten in 5 days and he was dying, he was starving. And I asked him, I said, what kind of phone do you have? And he had an iPhone 10. And I said, well, why don't you sell your phone? And he got angry with me. He told me, F you, this is how I scam people with my phone. So, you know, they all say that. I told a scammer once I was rich and I had a rich Nigerian uncle who left millions. That's awesome. That's funny. If you're looking for a job like I am, be careful for fake recruiters and employment agencies. I've got emails. Yes, that's one I wanted to cover before I leave as well. So with the job market being like it is, I mean, as far as where I live right now, jobs are prominent. I mean, you could have 5 jobs tomorrow if you wanted them. There's so many jobs here, nobody wants to work. No one wants the jobs. But what's happening is people that are on Indeed, people that have been on job sites, scammers get your information sometimes, and they will send you recruiting offers. And what happens is they'll say, oh, I found your resume on Indeed. I want to offer you a job making $35 an hour stuffing envelopes, or $50 an hour accepting packages for a shipment. And it's a scam, and they will ask you for your copy of your ID. They will ask you for a copy of your passport. They'll ask you for your bank information, routing number, so they can pay you. They'll ask you for all your personal information, where you've worked, where you lived, all that kind of stuff. It's phishing for information. You know, you send a scammer or a job recruitment agency your ID, your tax information, so they can hire you. They take that information. They might use it to file an unemployment claim. Scammers will take that information, open a fake account in your name, and use your ID to verify that account. When it comes to job scams, they're very prominent. They're happening quite often. And what I tell people, and unfortunately a lot of job scams are targeting our friends in the Philippines, because what they're doing is these recruiters are targeting, I'll give you an example of one, ladies in the Philippines that are on Facebook groups looking for jobs abroad. And they will tell these ladies, I can fly you to America, you'll make $45 an hour or $6,000 a week washing laundry. And so these people send their passport, they send their information, and they think, oh my God, I've got the American dream. And we have to break it to people that, you know, in America there's a misconception, especially abroad, that Americans make lots of money. And in reality, we might make more money than what you make, let's say, in the Philippines. However, there's nowhere in America you can work that's going to pay you $6,000 a week to wash laundry. You're going to make, depending on what state you live in, anywhere from $5 to $10 an hour washing laundry. We're not a get-rich-quick country, and people work very hard for what little they get. And so always keep in mind, if a job is offering you a ridiculous amount of money to do something that normally you know you'd only make $10 an hour at, it's a scam. If an online job wants your ID, your passport, your bank information, your social security via email and stuff, it's a scam. Real companies don't do that. Real companies have legit websites. Real companies have, you go in person, they Xerox, the HR lady at wherever you're going to work, Xerox your information off. So don't fall for that. Don't send your social security or anything else to people, because it's going to be a scam. There won't be a job. It'll be just a scam. Facebook has fake recruiters all the time. Once they get your email, they got you. They do. And I've gotten emails from fake recruiting companies that for some reason had gotten my email address. I don't know if it's out there floating in the ether, but they got my email address and said, oh, I want to offer you a job making, $65 an hour, doing something that I know in my profession would pay $20 an hour. So They are out there. When in doubt, Google the name of the company. When in doubt, Google the company number, Google the company name, and really investigate them. Don't take it for what they say. My scammer was begging me for $500. I told him I don't have money until he trimmed down the amount to $300. Told him that my Wi-Fi internet will be disconnected as I don't have money to pay my connection. Actually, it's my reverse psychology for him. He didn't send me a message anymore. Good. Some will, when you tell them you have nothing, they'll just block you because they're after money, and they'll just block you. But a large majority of the time, if you tell them I'm poor, they'll find a way to use you. I've told scammers, oh, I have no money, and they ask me to open a bank account or a credit card. So they wanted to do an interview on WhatsApp. So that's another thing too. Is it's interesting because I've had people in a lot of European countries tell me that they use WhatsApp for everything. They use it for their job, group chats, and things like that. And I get that, but when you're interviewing for a job or you're going to be hired, typically no job is going to have you on WhatsApp. You might get a job and then add a group of colleagues, coworkers on WhatsApp as a group chat. That's a different scenario. But the same thing goes for, I had someone say to me the other day that Dr. Karim Bikmaz, the Turkish doctor, is using WhatsApp to discuss surgeries with his patients. And I said, well, I don't think that would happen just because of privacy rights. WhatsApp is not a secure method of communication. So anyone that's a doctor who's telling you, let's chat on WhatsApp, it's going to be a scam. I've been to doctors and specialists, some of the well-known surgeons and things like that. I've never been added on WhatsApp. Job recruitment sites, they're not going to add you on WhatsApp. In fact, I got recruited the other day for a job, and it was a legit company that I had applied for a few months back. And they called me direct from their direct office, not from WhatsApp. So if someone's telling you add them on WhatsApp for a great deal or a great job or your medical, it's likely going to be a scammer. WhatsApp is the #1 app used in Nigeria. So, and if you're going to talk to your doctor online, like Gene, in the U.S. we use Zoom. My doctor's office uses Zoom. Surgeon that I recently went to, they use their actual MyChart, and then they have the MyChart app in the website that they use to video chat. But they're not going to use WhatsApp. They're not going to use Hangouts to talk to you. So if you're talking to someone online that's a doctor or a job, they're not going to have you go on WhatsApp. So just keep that in mind. All right, I'd like to thank all you guys for coming out tonight. It's my night, maybe your day. We'll be doing a live YouTube stream soon where I'll be calling Scammers as Betty. I just haven't had the time to do it lately. I'll fill you guys in on what's been going on. Anne's doing okay. She's hanging in there. Still in Australia. I'm still here in Oregon. I'd like to thank you guys for coming. Thank you for all the kind words. You guys have asked. We do have patreon.com/scammingscammers. And then I have our business address on all of our YouTube videos if you want to send a card or something. Just to let you guys know what's going on with me, because you guys have asked about my mom and stuff. Things have gone very badly. They've limited her life expectancy by months. It's not well. They can't do surgery. Unfortunately, the cancer she has gone into several parts of her body, and there's actually no hope. So it's tough, it's hard, it's devastating, but she's not suffering right now, and she's resting and she's okay. But the doctors that I went with her to last week have given her 4 to 8 weeks. So it's a lot to take in, but that's what's going on, and that's part of the reason why I haven't been on YouTube a lot. I haven't put a lot of effort into it right now, but I will, and I will go back on and find humor in Betty and find humor in messing with the scammers, because you have to take that break and laugh and stuff like that. So thank you guys for asking and for all your thoughts and prayers. I really appreciate it, and it's been tough. It's been a tough month, but we go forward. So Thank you guys, appreciate it. And Ann says hello, and I hope you guys are doing well. Stay safe. If you need help, you can inbox us. We answer our inbox every day. Or if you want to drop us an email, it's scammingscammers@gmail.com. I am answering our Gmails probably every 2 days now, just because I have a lot going on and I'm not online as much as I'd like to be. But if you need help, we're here for you. We're always on our Facebook, and hopefully you can join us on our YouTube channel, Scamming Scammers, for some fun videos. You guys take care, be well, keep your money to yourself, take care of yourself, and thank you for your thoughts and prayers. I appreciate it. And again, Ann says hello, and you guys be well, and we'll see you next month for our May Q&A. Thanks, guys. Be safe. Much love to all of you. Take care.